Co-creators of Stranger Things, the Duffer brothers have just confirmed a spin-off of the Netflix hit series, and it's coming out this year. With Season 5 due to be released next year, the spin-off veers into a world of its own, but is still based on our beloved little mystery town, Hawkins. The spin-off is titled The First Shadow. Let's find out what it's all about and what the Duffer brothers are cooking this time. The cast and setting. The First Shadow is a theatrical play set in 1959, 24 years before Stranger Things Season 1. So this will bring to us a much younger Hopper, Joyce, Henry, and even Bob Newby. Bob Newby's sister won't take his radio show seriously, and Joyce just wants to graduate and leave 1959's Hawkins that's just an average town with typical issues. And Joyce's maiden name is Maldonado. Isn't that Spanish or Portuguese? Interesting. The play's title, The First Shadow, perhaps alludes to young Henry Creel's arrival in Hawkins as the first incident that set off the chain of events. Henry Creel, a new student, finds out that a fresh start isn't always possible and that the shadows of the past have a far-reaching impact. The unexpectedly dark twists and turns make this so exciting as we wait because we urgently need all of young Henry Creel's story gaps to be filled. Season 4 left us with many unanswered questions, and Season 5 will be the epic climax of the whole blockbuster series, so it's fitting for the show to plug us in with some more details with The First Shadow. Perhaps they'll make use of this to fill in the blanks created by a multi-award-winning creative team that elevates theatrical storytelling and stagecraft to a whole new level. Talented crew. One of the show's writers, Kate Treefry, penned this new play, which was staged under the direction of Stephen Daldry, a 3-time Tony Award winner. Matt Duffer believed that Daldry, a huge admirer of the program, would never be able to realize his dream of creating a play because of his commitment to The Crown on Netflix. Once a window of opportunity presented itself, he returned and indicated his desire once more, and Duffer met with him to discuss potential play ideas. He continued by saying that Daldry was certain of what he had in mind. And we've learned that there's more to Little Hawkins than meets the eye. In 1959, Joyce and Hopper would have been both close to the ages of 17 and 18, and it would have been 2 years since they first used Agent Orange in Vietnam, which later caused Hopper's condition. And while they were still in their final year of school, he enlisted in the Army. Henry should be 12 or 13 years old, so it's not out of the question that he'll run across Bob, Joyce, and possibly even Hopper. After all, Hawkins is small. Maybe all the grades are close enough, or Henry is ahead 1 grade. He's special, yeah, but maybe he's smarter too. I'm curious if this play will be structured similarly to the way they structure the show, in the sense that they follow multiple different stories at the same time, and they eventually come together and tie into each other at the end, because it would be really interesting. Henry's backstory. Moving forward, young Henry is plunged into darkness where he discovers and hones his powers. Season 4 left a lot to the imagination and our speculations, but I can't help but wonder whether The First Shadow also drops a hint to the first shadow creature to come into contact with the Mind Flayer. But since you would need CGI for that, it would be more difficult to portray that on stage. Also, the Mind Flayer doesn't manifest until the massacre in Hawkins and Henry's exile to the Upside Down in 1979. But the Mind Flayer may be more complicated than that. What if it's a developed form of his malevolent abilities from when he was younger? I'm not sure. Even if it's just a theory, I'm thrilled that this story will help fill in the blanks. But how on earth did Henry Creel acquire his abilities? Did he receive these from his mother? Did Terry Ives' bomb give Eleven her powers? She spent so much time working on Brenner's MK Ultra project before she gave birth to Eleven. We know that Henry eventually sees Brenner, but do you believe that someone publicly ordered him to see a specialist, and Brenner just so happened to be the right specialist to see? On the other hand, could it be that his mother had been taking him to see Brenner before the murders? Because if you recall, in Vecna's monologue to Nancy and Eleven, he mentioned that when he awoke after falling asleep during the murders, he found himself in the care of a doctor. Since Henry's mother had him when she was about 24 years old, and Brenner was working with college-aged women at the time, including Terry Ives for his early experiments with MK Ultra, it sort of makes sense that Virginia Creel had been bringing him to Brenner for a while now. It's even possible that she was involved in some of Brenner's early tests for MK Ultra. Who knows how long they go back? Perhaps at least 12 years. Terry Ives not only possessed abilities akin to those of Eleven, but Virginia Creel probably had them as well. When Henry loses control and begins murdering people, you'll notice that he kills his mother first, as if he knew she had special abilities and would be the biggest obstacle to his being stopped. However, she was so taken off guard that she was unable to react in time and was murdered. There's a ton more to this theory, and the more you learn about it, the weirder it all becomes. However, I would like to see the origin of Henry's powers explained or at least explored a little more. I'm really curious if this is the outlet they're going to use to give us a look at that before Season 5, because with all this so far, it seems like they're hinting at a much bigger look at young Henry Creel in his turn to darkness and to Vecna in the promo for this play. In a video they made, a coming soon message with the number 001 underlined hinted that Henry might have been handed over to Brenner after the killings. I would like to see more of Brenner and the young Henry Creel, and I'd love to see a full performance focusing on Brenner's early MK Ultra plans. However, the webpage promoting this play suggests that we might get a brief glimpse of that in the spin-off. Brenner's story. And while we should all be excited about this, we would also most likely get a completely new cast of characters and settings. No matter the direction this play chooses to take, you can bet that it won't let us down. We have spent so much time already theorizing and speculating about all the different ideas for spin-off shows they could do with the current set of characters and settings, because I know I would love to see Nancy and Steve team up in a Nancy Drew mystery type of show. A young Detective Hopper in a cop-style show would also be fantastic. Another interesting backstory would be Brenner's past that followed his studies over the years as he immersed himself more and more into MK Ultra. It beats Frankenstein to me. But what is the key to the end trying to convey? Are they going to disclose the secret they'll employ to end Vecna's life once and for all in Season 5? Will they divulge the Horcruxes the children must locate and eliminate to kill him? The grandfather clock is a good place to start, but what about the other items? The new characters in the story will, I'm sure, be fantastic. I just can't help but feel that there are still so many unanswered issues and so many unexplored facets of the current plot. Word has it that there is also a special selection of child actors that can sing. Will there be any original Stranger Things songs? Like I told you, something big is cooking. Theater location. Although it's fantastic that the play is scheduled to be performed in London, specifically at the Phoenix Theatre, there are currently no plans for it to travel outside of the city. How then would Stranger Things fans from all over the world be a part of this? Netflix perhaps? Most likely, but it is not clear yet. In any case, fans of Stranger Things will be rushing to London to watch this play. The West End of London will host the world premiere of Stranger Things, The First Shadow, on December 14th, 2023. But since November 6th is Stranger Things Day, or the day that Will went missing, it would have been ideal if the first performance had taken place on that day. Unfortunately, this year November 6th falls on a Monday, which is not a traditional day for theater. It's one of the few days of the week when there probably won't even be a project. Most productions run from Tuesday to Sunday, so Monday will unfortunately be one of the days without a show. I mean, it's not impossible, but they'd have to go above and beyond to make it happen just for that one Monday. Again, unlikely. The show will start with previews on November 17th and continue on general release on December 14th. Since they picked London for good reason, I also wonder if Hopper and Joyce will have British accents. Imagine Hopper sounding like James Bond? That seems a little strange, don't you think? See you next time. Stay tuned.